Hello and welcome to one more episode with me, your host Samer. Today I'm giving you a complete blueprint for an amazing tool. And check this demo to see what it does. And here we have it. And we can see there's a reply. You hit on the reply and you can read it here. So you can see I got the application running perfectly. It got the comment details. It got the video title. It got the video description. And here it got the comment. What is the video about? And it answered, hey, in this video, I demonstrate advanced LinkedIn automation techniques.
Subscribe to Daddy's channel. The mic.
Today, I will give you everything. You're going to get the templates. You're going to get a document that takes you step by step into how to implement everything in this project. So you're going to have all of that good stuff. What I really highly recommend is that you watch this video second by second, step by step. Follow me as I go along. Feel free to pause or jump chapters if I'm covering areas that you already know how to do. And then walking through with me on the project, you will end up with a complete project on your end, ready to deploy by the end of this video. And as usual, without further ado, let's jump right in. Okay, so what you're looking at is one of the two versions of the application that I will give you. So you will get both. One of them has context in the way it runs and one of them does not. The reason I created two versions because some of you might want to have an application that will respond to comments casually without answering any specifics about your channel, maybe about that specific video. And those could be humorous, funny, casual comments that just gives time for you to actually go and respond, either you or one of your team members respond to that user's comment. Now on the flip side, someone else might also want the AI assistant to be able to respond within the context of the video. Now I made it simple. So basically the assistant will be looking at the description of the video, which is very important if you want to use this feature. And then based on understanding that description, it will answer to these comments. We can complicate it more. I didn't want to spend more time on it because personally, I have a very small channel. I will not need it for today. Maybe in the future, I will use it for myself. But we can add transcriptions coming in from Google for that video. So it will know step by step everything being said there. But that will have a cost when it comes to tokens on OpenAI. And thinking of it, I don't think it's necessary. Most people, I think, they want to answer themselves to their users to keep that intimacy with the audience. But this type of assistant might help you maybe answer 80% of the questions that really you don't need to answer yourself. And the other 20%, you can later on go in, see if that needs a follow-up from your side or someone from your team and respond to those. Now, as I said before, I'm going to give you everything. So you're going to have a link in the description where you go there and you will get the full documentation on top of this video, also the template, everything you need basically to build this. So do not worry about that. Now, my channel, so I need you to be patient a little bit with me here. I know I lose people when I start explaining things. My channel is about one thing, helping people do more with technology like I do every day. I'm not a coder, but I was able to build this. And this is the part I want some of you who are interested to really learn how I did this to listen to. If you're not interested, please feel free to jump through the chapters and go where I actually go into the implementation. So to build this, it took me using 3 different AI models. The first one was the Replit AI agent itself. And if you want me to cover more around how to use that, please write a comment in the comment section. But basically, I went into Replit. I said, I want to create an application from the agent. I gave it a prompt, which basically said, I want an application that will be able to scan the most recent 50 videos I have, see what new comments came in, identify those comment IDs basically, loop through all the videos with all the comments, record them, and then send an API call to OpenAI, to an assistant that it will create, this application will create, as I will show you in a second. And then I want that assistant to generate responses as instructed. And then I want this application to again loop through all these comments across all these videos and publish and post a response. On top of that, I want it to take all of that information for each comment and publish it on a Google Sheet for me to have it in a record. So in the future, I can look at that sheet, I see all the comments that I got, what responses that were posted for those comments, and then decide for myself if I want to go in for that video and do a follow-up response or anything else. Now, once I published that prompt, Replit did a good job in building the structure of that application. Now, this is feedback I already gave to Replit, which is an amazing company with a really open mind to getting feedback and improving. And remember, the Replit agent is really new, and I guess it's in the beta version. For it to be able to build and structure an application for me with one prompt is amazing by itself, and I expect it to really improve in the future. This is something I got from Replit. This video is not sponsored by Replit. It's a product I've been using for years and I love it. But they were so nice to contact me and get my feedback and interact with me on future things we can do together. So once I had that structure, it had lots of bugs, it didn't work. I took it and I went to Claude 3.5 Sonnet, which is the Anthropic supermodel everyone talks about when it comes to code. I gave it the code base that I got from Replit. I told it, this is a code that has the structure of this application that does 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And again, in Claude, I provided the logic of how the application runs. Basically, it's the same prompt I used in Replit. And as you know, if you build something when it comes to AI and code, it never happens from the first go. So there was a lot of back and forth with the model. And I got it to a place where it is running without any bugs, but there was certain things not happening to my liking, certain things not actually happening while there's no errors. The last step was I took everything I got from Claude, so that's like I stretched Claude to the max. I went to OpenAI O1 preview model, which has chain of thought. So I gave it everything and I asked it, okay, this is working. This is the application I'm looking for. Again, this is the logic of the application. Can you solve the problem of why this and this and that is not happening? And it did that. I went back to Replit, put the updated code, ran it, and it worked smoothly. The amazing thing, and why I am telling you all of that, is it took me 4 hours to build this whole thing. So, moral of the story, if I can do it, I guarantee that you can. The only thing you need to do is invest some time working with these AI models and a platform like Replit, which makes building an application and deploying it really seamless. And this is based on my experience in building applications on Azure and Google Cloud and publishing them through that. That's a nightmare for someone who's not into the coding world that I would love to avoid always. And since I started working with Replit, it's my go-to tool to deploy these applications. Okay, if you're still here and you endured all of that talk, thank you very much. Do not forget to hit that subscribe button. Now, from this point on, I'm gonna walk you step by step on how to put this thing together. Okay, the first thing you need to do is fork the template. So you're gonna have the link, just click at it, and then you will have a button that says fork of some sort. You have to click it. Let me show you. So this doesn't show on my side in the same way because this is my application. But for example, this is the same application I'm showing you. If you click the 3 dots here, you have this fork button here, and look at the logo. You will probably see the same one. Once you click fork, you will get a window like this to change the name if you want, make it public or private. Now, if you're on a free account, I think it has to be private. You cannot make it public. And then you just click the fork button here. Once you click the fork button, it will take you back to this. Obviously, this part, the secrets part, is where you put all the information stuff. For you, as you fork the template, everything here will be empty. And this is the only part you need to fill in. So you need to get your YouTube channel ID, paste it here. You need to get an OpenAI API key, paste it here. And then you need to get these things from Google Cloud Console for your project. Remember, you are accessing Google Sheet, you're accessing your YouTube channel, you're reading comments, reading descriptions, putting a comment. So you will need to provide this information that I will show you how to get and where to get it from in a second. So you need to get all of that, paste it here, and then you are ready to run your application. Now, before I show you how to get the Google details, and I assume you know how to get your channel ID and OpenAI API key. If you don't, look on the internet, look on YouTube. There's many videos to show you how to do it. Before we go to Google, I want to turn your attention to one fact here, is that this application will create the OpenAI assistant for you. And once it's created, it will happen for one time. Once it's created, you're going to find a file that I will show you when I run my application here that will record the assistant ID. Once that file is in here and the assistant ID is created, every time you rerun the application, it will not create that assistant. It will just use the assistant ID that is stored in this application. So it will happen only once, don't worry about it. Now, there's an application file. It's called assistant manager.py, which is Python basically. And if you click on the assistant manager.py, you will see all the details of the code on how to create that assistant and run it. The most important part is this part here, which is the instructions. So before you run your application, go here and modify the instructions to the way you want your assistant to behave. So for me, I made it very generic just for the example I want to show today, but you can make it as long as you want as an assistant instruction. You can give it tone of voice. You can give it certain links if you want it to respond, for example, with a link to your website. You can go crazy when it comes to the assistant instructions, and it will operate accordingly to that. Now, once it's created, you will find the assistant already on your OpenAI dashboard, and you can even continue modifying the instructions there itself. But for the first time you run, just be aware, this will create an assistant for you. You do not need to go to OpenAI and create it. And you'll see all of that when we go to the demo. The other things we're gonna get is the Google credentials in JSON format. And Google credentials basically has the client ID and the client secret. And also we're going to get an access token and a refresh token. If you do not want to go through the headache of understanding these things, you don't need to understand them. Just think of them as the keys to access YouTube, get information from it, and write information to it, basically posting your comment or to the Google Sheet itself. So let us start with the simple one, which is getting the sheet ID, and then we'll go to the Google console. Now, before I go for the sheet ID, let me show you the sheet itself. So it's a very simple sheet. I hope you can see it clearly. It has a comment ID column, video ID, video title, video description, comment, response, and response timestamp. So you can track everything in this one place and decide what you want to do a follow-up on or not. And you just also see how the assistant is operating in one place without any headache. Now, the sheet ID is very simple to get. It is available in the URL itself. So I'll just show you an image I found online that will help in that. So if you see this image, I'll try to magnify it, but usually you'll have a \d\, all the code after it before the next / is the Google Sheet ID. So you need to copy that and then go back to the project and paste it in the Google Sheet ID section in the secrets. One more thing about the Google Sheet. So I'm gonna provide you with 2 templates, one for each type of application or version of the application. Once you take that template, place it in your Google Drive, share it, so make it available to anyone with the link, and to be able to edit like so. So let me show you on my sheet so you can see something like this. Once you get it, make sure you make it that it's accessible for anyone with a link and with the ability to edit. This will avoid you having any kind of error when the application is running and basically posting comments and details into the sheet. So just keep that in mind so you wouldn't face any kind of errors once you run the application. Now let's go to the Google console to build our project. So you need to build a project there, and I'll show you step by step how to build it and get all the information. At the end of the day, from Google's perspective, you're building an application. And I believe the Google application you create can remain there working without any issues, without the need for you to publish it, which is a process by itself, especially that this application is dedicated to the channel that you own. Okay, so let's go to Google Cloud Console. And this is the screen that you get to once you click create a project. And by the way, all of the steps, even on Google, and the links will be in the document that I will provide. So just follow me on the video here, step by step, and you shouldn't need even the document, but you can use the document just to go for the right link when it comes to Google Console and so forth. So let's create a project. And this is, I will call it the YT, basically YouTube bot. And this is a project definitely I'm gonna cancel once or before I actually publish the video. And be very careful, never ever share any of those keys or codes that you get out of this project with anyone. They will gain access to your YouTube channel and maybe other things. So these are very sensitive. This is why I'm creating a new project to showcase this that I will delete later. Okay, so I named it the YT bot. So once you create it, it will load for a second, but then you'll have this page, okay? So this is where you manage everything when it comes to Google Console. So Google Cloud Console, basically. Now, the first thing we want to do is select the API libraries that we need to access to implement everything we need to implement on this application. So the first thing we need to go to is this APIs and services. So we click on it and we come to this page. Now, if you see, automatically by default, you'll be on the first tab on this left panel, which is enabled APIs and services. Very easy to do. So we need basically two APIs to enable here. One of them is for YouTube and one of them is for Google Sheets. So let's start with the YouTube one. So if you go to the search engine here in the top and write YouTube, you will get this API. So make sure it has API here, YouTube Data API version 3. So this is the most recent. We click on it and we are in the YouTube Data API v3 library here. And you can see a big blue button saying enable, and always make sure that the application you created shows here on the top. Because if you have multiple ones, you might be on a different application and you don't want to do that. And here you simply click enable. Now, once you click it, it will start loading and you will get it in this format. So you have some graphics, some details to track the usage of this API. And you see also the disable button here, meaning that this API is already enabled. Now we need to go now to the Google Sheet one and activate it. And let's go search for Sheet and we get the Google Sheets API right here. Click on it and this is the Google Sheet API. Again, the same thing, hit enable and wait for it to be in effect. Okay, so now we have this one as well enabled and operating for this application. Now we need to get our keys. So we have those APIs available for us. We need to get the keys to access this application and our accounts. And to do so, we need to go to credentials. You can see even a logo for a key. So it's a good analogy I gave. So we go to credentials and you get to this page. You go to the top here and you can find create credentials. Click create credentials and then OAuth client ID. Once you do that, you will go to this page and there will be nothing basically because we didn't create any authentication. So you need to click configure consent screen. Let's click it. And now we go to the steps where we need to define our application that we'll be using. So the first thing we need to do is it internal or external. Now, if you look at these two options, one of them is internal, which is ideal for our use case, but unless you have a Google Workspace ID or an account, which I do not, you cannot use it. If you have that, go for it because you can actually publish this application only for the users in your organization and you do not need to even verify the application, which is great and exactly what we're looking for. Now, if you don't have that, it's okay. We can go to the external and then click create. Once we click create, we go to this page where we will define now our application. First thing we need to do is give it a name. So let's call it again the YT app, so YouTube application. Here we have to put the user support email and I'll put my account email. So I recommend you do the same. Put the same email linked to the YouTube account that you manage. Now, this might not be necessary, but I'm super cautious when it comes to these things. It just makes things easier. Now we scroll down. So you have other areas that are not necessary to fill. One of them is logo, app domain, and authorized domain. All of those are necessary when you go and publish an application on Google, which we will not do for this one. So no need to touch anything here. And then you need to put an email for a developer contact information, which can be exactly the same email that you're using for your account. So let me do that. Okay, so once you have your email, you can hit save and continue. You will go to the next phase here. On the top, you can see now we're going to scopes. And the way I understand them is basically sensitive scopes. It has some personal information and you have to get some authentication or authorization to access those. And then restricted scopes, it has either something that really affects privacy of the users of Google in general, or something that has an intellectual property element of the data that Google owns. So to get it, either you pay money or you have to get yourself authorized to do so. What we're gonna do here is add our scopes, and I guess our scopes are sensitive ones, and don't worry about that. This is why we're doing all of this. We're gonna get the authorization to be able to use these scopes in our application. So let's hit add or remove scopes. and then you come to this panel here on the right, and here you can select the endpoints of the Google libraries that they offer, and we need just to select a couple of them that actually require our application to run. So it's a big list. You can see it's like one of 38 pages. We will not go through it. There's luckily a filter here. So let's to start with YouTube. Okay, so we don't need all of them. We just need this one that ends up with youtube.force-ssl. So we click at that, you'll find it here, and you can see the API, the main library is YouTube Data API v3, which we already enabled. Click on that and hit update, and it should appear here. So you see it in the sensitive scope. We'll add one more, which is the Google Sheets one. Click here, again, go to the filter. So we write Google Sheets and we get these three options. The one we want is see, edit, create, and delete all Google Sheets spreadsheets. So we click at it and you will see it. It's the scope that ends with auth/spreadsheets. Again, it's part of the Google Sheets API that we again enabled. We select it here and we hit update. And also you can see it's a sensitive scope that we have here. So that's good. And now we hit save and continue. Here we have to add the test users. So you can click add user. And again here, place the email that is associated with your YouTube account, with your YouTube channel ID. So put the email here. Once you put your email here, just click add and you should see it in this section below. Again, hit save and continue. And then we go to the summary. So everything that we've done shows here and we hit back to dashboard. And now you can see the OAuth consent screen is created for your application. And just to be clear, this is the actual authentication process that you see when you click on a website that you want to log in or sign up through Google. This is where, it shows up with your accounts. You click on your account and click authenticate. We're doing this through code. That's the only difference. So now we have it set up. So let's go back to credentials. And now we can again hit add credential and we go again to an OAuth client ID. Let's hit that again. And now it's different. So it's asking us for an application type. Last time it asked us to build the application. Now it's just an application type. We hit it. And what we can select here is a web application, which you see here on the top. So we click web application. So once we select the web application, all of this is populated. No need to worry about it. If you want to change the name, please do. This is your client or application. This is the actual application now we're working with. We're setting it up here. So we want to create that authentication for it. Now, one thing we need to add is the authorized redirect URIs. And in simple terms, if you go to a website where you log in or sign up through Google, once you click the authorize button, it always will redirect you to the actual service or the application. This is exactly what it is. Now, our application will not do that, but we still need to do it here to get the access token and the refresh token, as I will show you, because this is how authentication happens. You get these two tokens. Now, there's something called the Google Console Playground. Let me show it to you. This is the Google Console Playground, and we will need it later on to get our access and refresh tokens. So take that URL for the playground, copy it. So I have copied it here, and then we go back to the application here. We add a URI and we paste the playground and then hit create. And this will pop up. So now you have a client ID and the client secret. We can do it in an application where you actually use those, but there's a button here, a nice button that says download JSON. This is your credentials.json. So let me click on it. So we'll get the file here. And let me open the file for you. Okay, so I opened the file that I downloaded in a text editor. And once you open it, you will see this JSON structure. It's just code that you need to copy and then paste into Replit. So this is the only thing you need to do. This contains your secret, your client secret, client ID, and other pieces of information that are necessary to authenticate your account. So this is the only thing you need to worry about. Just come in here in a text editor, copy this whole thing, click right, copy it, and you're good to go. So once you copied that code in the file that we opened in an editor, any editor, by the way, will work. You go back to the Replit template and you just paste it here. Paste it in the Google Credentials JSON. And this is the first step done. Now, two things are remaining from Google is the access token and the refresh token. And this is where the playground will come in. So now, once we paste that, We'll go back to Google. So here we can click OK. So we have everything what we need. So let's go to the playground. Now, playground is just a feature by Google where we can test these authentication setups that we do. So this is an OAuth 2.0 playground. And once you are in this screen, this is very simple. Do not overthink it. So you'll have to go to this section here, which is the settings or the configuration. Click at it and then select use your own OAuth credentials. If you remember, we just got our credentials. So if you go back here, again, you can click this at any time and you will get the details here. So the first thing we need to do is get the client ID. So let me copy it from here. We go back to the playground. That's the client ID. Go back to Google Console. We need now the client secret. You'll find the client secret here. Copy it. So there's a copy button here. We go back to playground and then we paste it and then we hit close. Now we have to select again the same endpoint that we selected in the scopes. So again, we have to select the scopes here. To do that, we just can scroll through this. Unfortunately, this one doesn't have a search. What you can do is copy the actual scope and paste it here to input it manually. But to make it easier, let's start with the YouTube one. Usually it's close to the end. So this is the YouTube Data API v3, which is the same one we worked with. Here we have to select the youtube.force-ssl that we talked about. So we selected, this is one. And now we have to scroll up and find the one for the Google Sheets. So we have G, so this is sorted alphabetically. So that's good. So we find the Google Sheets API version 4. So we go down and this is the one that we actually enabled. If you remember in the scopes, the auth /spreadsheet. So we click at it as well. And now we are ready. So we have both of these APIs selected. And then we have to click authorize APIs. Once we click it, oh, okay. So this is interesting. So it gave me access blocked. It's good that this happened. Actually, I might have already helped someone avoid this issue. So if you see the error, it's error 400 redirect URI mismatch. So I need to actually set up properly the URI redirect, which should be coming here. Now let's go back to the API here. We need to go back to the URI link. And as I understand it, the reason I get the error is because of this backslash at the end of the URL, which shouldn't be there. This is just me copying pasting without checking. So once you paste the URI or the redirect URL here, make sure the playground doesn't have the last backslash. So we remove that backslash, we hit save. We should be good now to go get our access and refresh tokens. So let's go to the playground. And here I'll hit again authorize APIs, and this is the screen that we always get when we go and sign up or log in on a website through Google, and we'll have to follow the same steps. So here I'm going to select again the same account I selected as I set up the application, and then I select it here again and continue. So basically it will offer you going back to safety. Again, this is an application as far as Google is concerned. It's not a verified application by them. So they recommend that you go back, but it's your application, you created it. So you hit continue here. And basically you can select all the rights that you're offering. So one of them is basically editing the Google Sheet, and the other one is everything that it needs to do for YouTube. Select both, hit continue. And now we're back here. And here what we need to do is say exchange authorization code for token. Usually how it works, you get an authorization code and then we want a token out of it. So as far as you're concerned, just click this beautiful blue button and this is what you get. So here you can see something called the access token. So we'll have to copy the whole thing between quotations and it will last until this part here. So everything between the two quotations we'll have to copy. So we copy that. If we go back to the application, we'll have to paste it here in the access token part. And then we go to the playground and you'll find at the end as well the refresh token. And again, for the refresh token, we'll have to copy everything between the two quotations here, quotation marks. Copy it, go back to the application and paste it in the refresh token. Now, I will not do it. I'm not using the same application. I have something already set up. And with this, we are now in a place to run the application. Now, before you run it, I just want to highlight one thing. If you go to the main.py, which is the main application, you scroll down. Again, if you want to test it, you need to do two things so you don't mess up your YouTube channel. So this is why I want people to watch this video very carefully. You can see here that I made this application to go in intervals, basically cycles of 30 minutes. So each 30 minutes, it will scan your YouTube channel for the videos and the comments that came in for each video, and do the whole process of responding and recording this in a Google Sheet. Now, there's a reason why I selected 30 minutes. It's not just because of making things, on a reasonable time frame. Actually, we have daily tokens by Google to use those APIs. And doing the calculation I did for you, if we do it every 30 minutes, we are good to go when it comes to the token limits Google offer us for such an application. So if you do it more than 30 minutes, at some point it will break down. If you do it every 30 minutes, this will continue uninterrupted. So this is why I put it 30 minutes. Now, if you want to test it like I'm going to do now, it's much easier just to reduce this. So let's go and do it every 2 minutes. So once I run it, every 2 minutes is going to do that scan. The other thing also you need to do before you run the first test or actually deploy it, go to this last checked text. So this is basically the placeholder where the application checks when was the last date and timestamp where I checked for these new comments. You will get my template with the dates I have in it. So it could be a week from now, a month, or a year from now when you're watching this video and you want to implement this. So be very careful. When you go in here, you can see I have a comment for you. Modify this date to the current time in UTC before the first run using the format above. So this is very simple. You can just take it, throw it to ChatGPT, even the free version, ask it, give it to me in today's date and today's time in UTC. And you will get this updated here and you're good. The reason is if you use an older date, well, the application will go scan all the comments from these older dates and will start giving responses for those. I did that mistake before. I don't want you to do the same mistake. So you will end up with all your users, all your viewers getting those weird AI comments out of nowhere. So just make sure it is current for you to test, and then you can deploy it, continue deploying it where everything is happening forward from the point you run this application and to not go backward. Okay. Now everything is in place. I made it again to run every 2 minutes just for us to test. And I have one of my YouTube videos open. This is another account I have, so it's not my account. And now what we're going to do is I'm going to write a comment, run it first, obviously, write a comment here, and then we're going to open up the Google Sheet, see when the response comes in so you can see how it populates. And at the same time, we're gonna go to the YouTube, refresh it, and see the comment there. So we'll run the whole thing. You're gonna see the system running live. We can do it for a couple of times. I'm gonna do it for the context one, so we can ask questions around the video and you can see how that works. Again, remember, my assistant is very simple. I created a very simple assistant. For your assistant, it will be something that you design yourself. And the last thing we want to see, even before checking the comment, is the creation of the assistant. So let me show you my dashboard on OpenAI. These are all my assistants. So you can see the most recent one is the Fluxed One Prompt Master and nothing else. Now, once we run for the first time, a new assistant will be created for us and we'll see that live now. So let's go back here. So once you get all the information, you modify these things for testing if you want. Make sure you modify the last check.txt file here. This is a must. This is not optional. Then you only need to do here is hit run if you're testing. Once you're happy, you can hit deploy that you see here on Replit. So it will be continuous deployment uninterrupted. So let's hit run and we'll see some kind of stuff happening here. It's opening the application, yada yada. We're not worrying about that. So let's go to the YouTube video in my different account. And here I will write a comment that will require something when it comes to context. So I will ask, what is this video about? Even it has spelling mistakes, that's fine. I'll hit comment. So the comment is in. So let's go to the sheet. So now what the application is doing, it's scanning the YouTube channel, getting all the new comments from the last time I did this. For each comment, it will respond, get the information necessary, and then take all of that information and populate it here in this sheet. So that happens every 3 minutes. So I'll have to wait and I'll get back to you when you see this. And I'll get it even to start a second before and you see it here. So, actually, it answered. Oh, what's happening? It got. I have to stop it. Actually, I didn't fix the date. So the same mistake I was telling you to avoid, I didn't avoid myself. But it's good. But at least you've seen it, even with my mistakes, in its full power. So it's giving all the response one by one. And I don't think it responded to my video. It responded to other videos that we can check. That's fine. I will not stress on that. I had to stop it because I didn't want it to go and respond to tens of comments. I just have to go and delete all of these comments. So you can see this is the comment that I got from this user, and this is the response it actually published now. So, and you have all the other details. You have the video title and other things. Okay, so it was all of these are responses to the most recent video I have. So let's jump in there and see those responses, and then I can actually delete those responses on my account. Okay, so this is my video on the voice real-time API, and you can see here there's 2 replies. So this is the AI response. Thank you so much for the support. I'm glad you're enjoying the video. Stay tuned. Let me just delete it. I have to do it one by one. This is why I want you to avoid the mistake that I've done. Again, this is a response here. So you can see this application can easily work on mass. So it's something that if you use it, it will streamline the way you interact with your user. And this is really interesting. So did you see that I had a comment in Arabic and it responded in Arabic just now? So it automatically identified the language and responded in that language. So it's a super powerful tool. So let me delete this one as well. And then I don't know if it did this one. Yep, it did this one as well. So I'll delete it. And this is the last one. And then I'll delete it. So, if any of you here, amazing subscribers and part of the community, if you got the notification, well, if you watch this video now, you understand why you got that notification. So let's go back. I'm going to fix it. I'm going to do it one more time to see it for my comment, just to see the context part. So let's go back to the application here. Let's go to the last checked. I realized what I need to do. So what I need to do is actually remove the comment here that I put for the video. I'm going to remove it actually even from the template, so none of you have this issue. And I think this way it should work smoothly. So let me run again. And when you run it, if it says not found, this is just like the web view of it. So you don't need to worry about that. So let me go to the sheet. Let me delete all these lines created. So I'll just delete the rows. So, okay, we have a clean sheet again, and I will go to the same video again with my other account. I'll say, what is the video about? Now I have the comment again, so I deleted the previous one. So we'll just watch this and see the comment as it comes. And here we have it. So you can see I got the application running perfectly. It got the comment details. It got the video title, it got the video description, and here it got the comment. What is the video about? And it answered, hey, in this video, I demonstrate advanced LinkedIn automation techniques to help efficiently land your dream job, yada, yada, yada. And by the way, this is an amazing video. If you missed it, it has a complete automation that will get you your dream job. I'm not saying anything, just go there if you want to achieve that. And then it gave the response time. Now, if we go back here, by the way, let me stop the application. So if any comment comes in, it will not respond to it. If you go here, we'll have to refresh this now. So we refresh it, we go down, and we can see there's a reply. You hit on the reply and you can read it here. Hey, in this video, I demonstrate advanced LinkedIn automation. So the same response we saw in the sheet. So the application is working. So before I close this, I'm going back to my assistants. So if you can see here on OpenAI, I will refresh the screen now, and once I refresh it, you're going to see that a new assistant was added, which was created by the application. So let's refresh. And here you can see the YouTube comment responder. It was created. This is the timestamp. So if you click on it, we'll get all the details. So when you go to the code where I showed you where you need to modify the assistant instructions, you will find that this is the instructions that we had in that prompt, and you'll have this is what you have to change. You can again modify it here after running the application for the first time. It's up to you, because the next time you run it, it will just go to that assistant ID and it will take whatever is in this part here on the OpenAI dashboard. So you don't need to worry about the assistant instructions after the first time you run it. The first time you run it, it's good. After that, the modification has to happen from the dashboard itself. Okay, before I close the video, I just want to give you some tips that will help you have smooth operation, things I've done as well. So channel ID and OpenAI API key, these things you can get in a very straightforward process, just going to YouTube and OpenAI dashboard and getting your keys from there and the ID of the channel. Now for Google, I showed you how to get everything, including the sheet ID from the Google Sheet that you create out of my template in your Google Drive and everything else here. Now, when you run it, so let me do this live, when you run the application, it will get a link, at least on Replit side. If you remember, we added the redirect URI. What I recommend is that you copy this link here, copy the link, and then add it as a redirect URI, because the application as well is running and refreshing your refresh token. So you'll have two of them. One, which is the playground, as I showed you, where you get the first access and refresh token. And the second is getting it through this application. So you get that Replit link and you add it as a secondary URI redirect link. Maybe it will work without it, but just in case, add it there. You avoid any hiccups or issues going forward in your application. So if you're still here, thank you very much for hanging on. I know this video is packed with information. You go, click the link in the description, get all of it in documentation, watch the video again, switch between chapters to suit your need as you develop this product, which should take less than 5 minutes in reality once you have the template. And I genuinely hope that you got real good value out of this video. You have now an application that will help you manage your YouTube channel. Maybe you are one with millions, thousands of subscribers, unlike me, still with 1,000. Don't forget to subscribe. It's for free, by the way. Write a comment in the comment section, and hey, share it with people who might benefit from this. And thank you for sticking in and for watching and subscribing, and goodbye.
Subscribe to Daddy's channel. Give me the mic.